I remember we had a teacher in secondary school, and he was somebody who played on weaknesses. I can see in my mind's eye, like the Mrs. Buckle page, I can see my school curriculum in front of me, my week, and I would see double maths coming up, and I've been in the toilet and vomited before at school because I could see the double maths, and this particular teacher would say, right, we're going to do some mental arithmetic today, and he would always point at me, and I would hear all the other people going 78, 48.2, da 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 da, and it was like he was saying, Denise. That's what it was like to me, as if somebody shouted that to you and pointed you, and
Yeah.
in slow motion, everybody looked at you like in the movies, for an answer.
Yeah.
And the fear was real.
Yeah.
And I would look at people who were doing, geometry or algebra, and it would just make no sense to me. I didn't have any way of working out the angles. And
Yeah.
to this day, not that I need algebra very much,
No.
but, it has really, the fear of it has really affected me through life.
Yeah, absolutely. And I suppose, I mean, I suffer myself with that kind of lack of number confidence, but we know that maths ability isn't set, and it is something that you can improve, and it is actually all about confidence. But I suppose in my point of view, kind of, it's held me back in ways that, I suppose, thinking just about like my pension and where I, like long-term planning, because I'm completely allergic to it. I just can't even begin to have a conversation about
Well,
anything.
Lincoln, there is stuff on this desk here
Yeah.
that in a pile, and I have ADHD, which many people have, and
Yeah.
it's only since my diagnosis in 2022 that I've been able to associate it with certain things in my life. So
Yeah.
things like the piles, the procrastination about the pile.
Yeah.
Lincoln will say to me, can we sit down tonight for 1 hour, and I
Yeah.
want to go through your pensions, where
Yeah.
they are, and I don't purposely go out, but I will do anything to avoid that hour. And this
Yeah.
is with my husband, who is very happy to spend the time and sit with me and go through it and explain what each of them mean. It's completely held me back as to where I should be, should have been financially, because I would, people say you've got to save for your tax and you've got to do this and do this. I would just ignore everything that came in. And I'm not irresponsible in other areas of my life, but anything to do with finances would literally make me either physically or metaphorically go la 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 la.
What I just love about you is that we have to talk about this renaissance that you're having. Where did it come from?
I had a really bad relapse with my depression.
I remember.
For those people who know me and have known my history, I have had clinical depression since I had Matty 37 years ago, and on off. I just felt very disillusioned. And I did a play a couple of years ago with Matthew Kelly, a two-hander of a Jim Cartwright play called The Gap in Manchester. And I didn't really need reminding that I'm a good actress. And it's the only thing I ever sort of, not blow my own trumpet about, but it's the thing I'm best at. And I'd sort of not been doing a lot because life had taken over. I'm very, very, very fortunate that my career has allowed me to diversify. And therefore, as a daytime presenter, I felt that, God, there's a lot of people probably even don't know that my main job is that I'm an actor.
Yeah.
And after doing the play, I felt frustrated. And so I said to my agent, I just feel, I'm always talking about, you've got to think of yourself as, I'm going to be 68. And that's fantastic. Not, oh my God, I'm going to be 68. I'm 2 years off 70. It's how you flip the narrative in your head. And I've got a very, I'm lucky to have a youngish, a very cross-section fan base, but quite a young fan base. And I thought, I'm not just going to say it. I'm going to try and I did it for me, but also to be an example of older women who are feeling down on themselves and think, what's 68 anymore? You've either got Madonna or you've got Doris Metcalf, who lives along the road, who's looked since 68 since she was 40. It's a mindset. And my godfather, the writer Ian Lefrene, who wrote The Likely Lads and Porridge, he's 90. And when you meet Ian, it's like you're with somebody in their 60s. And similarly, his wife Doris, who's in her 80s. And they say that it's because mentally they haven't let the old one in. I got the team, and I got Ryan, who does my styling, and Toby, who does my makeup, and Charles sometimes, who does my hair. Not a lot for Charles to do, but it's amazing what he can do with short hair. And I went to the Attitude Awards, and I was styled, and I knew I looked different because I wasn't feeling good in myself. I wasn't bothered about what I was wearing. So suddenly I got a renewed interest in clothes. I'm still not high fashion. I don't understand it. I just let them put anything on me and it somehow works. And the reaction was huge. And then that led to, would you like to do the red carpet at the GQ Awards and this, that, and those magazines, And it's just great. It has given me a confidence. It's given me a renewed zest for going to things. And then somebody called it the Renaissance, and that's what it's done. But it's
I just love
also, it gave me a bit of a boost, when I heard about you guys, and it gave me a renewed interest in knowing that I will never become a maths wizard, and nor have I got any desire to learn or not learn, but do exams in anything again. I haven't. But it's given me a sort of kick up the bum. Also, we've got a grandchild now, Theo. We've got another one on the way. I don't want him to go through those issues.
No.
Being involved with you guys is also giving me a bit more confidence in that area.
Absolutely. And what would you say? I mean, the Renaissance, has it changed how you think about growth, I suppose, and learning new things in general?
Well, I think it's never too late to do anything.
Yeah.
It's never, ever too late to do anything. And I think with this, I mean, everybody moans about sitting down with your kids and doing the homework and not being able to do it. And I'm not going to say that I'm going to be able to sit down with Theo in a few years and do all his homework, because the whole teaching method is different. But I would like to approach it when he comes and says, Nana, can you help me with this? I would like to approach it with more confidence, because before that would have given me sweaty palms. So I do think it's never too late to at least, and I don't mind saying, learn the basics again, learn how I can get around these things.
Exactly. And what would you say to people that would maybe feel too embarrassed to improve?
Well, I think it's more embarrassing to go through life never having any help or idea, because the thing is, what people need to understand, that by, say, for example, taking your numeracy challenge, that they're not going to be sitting in a room with sweaty palms and somebody sat up at the front. This is not an exam. Nobody's going to test you on anything. Nobody is judging you. The reason for National Numeracy is to help people like us, not to challenge us or judge us. And just the joy of having those basic skills to go through life. Believe you me, don't be embarrassed, because it's more embarrassing when you're still trying to desperately add up on your hands under a table when you're a grown-up. It's never too late to improve in all areas of your life, and no one is expecting, if you have a fear or a lack of confidence in maths, no one is expecting you to become a maths wizard, but you will be able to learn some techniques, some basic skills to get you through life and try, we'll all be trying to get a mortgage. We all have to pay our tax. We all have to take care of our pensions. And I'll be quite honest, Cass, if I didn't have Lincoln, I would be in a desperately, desperately vulnerable, sad situation. It's only because luckily he's been able to help and encourage me. And I wish that I'd done something before so that I hadn't become so reliant on my husband to help me with the basics. My accountant is not asking me to do all of my own tax returns. He just, I want to learn the fundamentals, the questions to ask him. And that's what I've been, helped by. So I would say that It's just trying to take the fear out of maths. It's not trying to make you Carol Vorderman, one of my
No.
mates.
Yeah.
You know, yeah.
That's it. Perfect. Thank you so much, Denise. That's
You're
so
welcome.
brilliant. I really, really appreciate it.
You're
And it's just
welcome.
so lovely to see you and have a
And you.
catch up,
And
even if
you.
it is about maths.